Hello everyone. Today our group will be presenting a presentation about the genre of narrating. But firstly, let me introduce myself. My name is Kenken Heryanto and my student number is 222122103. I will explain about the definition about narrating text and narrating types. So for the first is the definition of narrating text. Narrating text is a genre of writing that involves telling a story or recounting events. It typically features a clear beginning, middle, and end, and may include character, setting, and a plot. Narrating text can take many forms such as fiction, non-fiction, poetry, drama, and memoir. The purpose of narrating text is often to entertain, inform, or persuade the reader. It may also serve as a way to reflect on personal experience, explore social issues, or express emotion. In general, narrating text aims to engage the reader and transport them to another world or time through the use of descriptive language, vivid imagery, and a compelling narrative structure. Next is an explanation about the types of narration. There are two types, and the first one is narrative. A narrative text is a type of writing that tells a story, usually in the form of a sequence of events. This type of text is often found in works of fiction, such as novels and short stories, but can also be used in non-fiction writing to describe real-life events. Narrative writing typically includes character, a setting, a plot, and a point of view. The goal of narrative writing is to engage the reader by creating a sense of excitement or emotional connection with the story being told. The second is recount text. A recount text is a type of writing that focuses on factual retelling of events that have already happened. This type of text is typically used in news reporting, historical accounts, or personal narratives. Recount writing typically presents events in chronological order and may include details such as time, location, and specific action taken. The goal of recount writing is to inform the reader about what happened and to provide an objective perspective on the events being described. So that's all I want to share. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nazwa Izzani with students number 222122107. Here I will tell you about narrative and recount structure. Narrative structure. Narrative structure is the content of a story and the form used to tell the story. There are 4 points in the structure. The first is orientation. Orientation gives the background of the story. Orientation also contains the introduction of character and settings involved in the contents of the story. In this case, the setting can be the scene as well as the time of the story. The second is complication. In this part, the main character is confronted with a problem. Complications are composed of problem, conflict, climax, anticlimax, and solution. The third is resolution. Resolution is the end of the story. This paragraph can be a further explanation of solution. In this section, the author describes how the characters solve the problem, and the narrative text that is made will end with a sad ending or a happy ending. The last one is coda. This part tells about the final condition of the character in the story, or it can also contain lessons and moral message that can be taken by the reader to be implemented in real life. The next is recount structure. A recount is a type of text that retells or describes past events or experiences. There are 3 points on the structure. The first is orientation. The orientation section describes the background of the events by providing additional detail and explaining the importance of the event. This part introduces the setting, character, and time. The second is events. The series of events that happened in the past are in chronological order. In this part, the writer should focus on providing relevant details such as action, dialogue, and reactions to make the events come alive for the reader. The last one is reorientation. The reorientation wraps up the recount by summarizing the main events and reflecting on their significance. It may also include a closing statement or a final thoughts related to the events being recounted. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Krisna Apriandi. My student's number is 222-122-113. Here I will explain the type of narrative text. First, mystic. Mystic are stories that explain how the world works and provide insight into the beliefs and values of a culture. Second, legends. Legends are stories based on historical events or people but have been embellished over time. Third, fables. Fables are stories that teach a moral lesson and typically feature animal or other non-human character. Fourth, adventure stories. Adventure stories are exciting tales of exploration and danger. And then I will explain the type of recount text. First, personal recount. A personal recount is a narrative that tells the story of a personal experience, usually written in the first person. Second, factual recount. A factual recount is a narrative that tells the story of real events, people, or places, usually written in the third person. Third, imaginative recount. An imaginative recount is a narrative that tells the story of event imagined or invented by the author. Fourth, procedural recount. A procedural recount is a narrative that tells the story of a process or set of interaction, usually written in the second person. Fifth, literary recount. A literary recount is a narrative that tells the story of literary work, such as a novel, play, or film. Thank you.
In writing narration text, there's about 6 points of grammatical features in this text model, which I will explain shortly 3 of them, and then the rest will be explained by the other. First, the narration text using part action verb that in past form, for example, saw, when, heard, etc., and time connective and conjunction such as then, before that, after, etc. when the text is about to sequencing between people and even in time and space. This will help in explaining two events that occur sequentially or simultaneously. The second one, recount and stories in narrating text, usually written in the past tense, unless the text quoting direct speech, as dialogue is also needed to make the event in the narration clearer. The next one, while the text about to write the action sequence, it will written using action verb. But for the reflection sequence, it will written using mental verb. So that is everything I can explain about this. For the rest, that's 3 points. I will give my chance to the other speakers.
My name is Anjar Sevtian. My student's number is 222-122-094. And today I'd like to talk about the grammatical features. I'd like to talk about the common features of narrative that make them effective in creating images, particular effects, and also poignant effects. Narratives often use action verb metaphorically to create effective images. Action verbs are words that describe an action or a movement, and when used metaphorically, they can evoke powerful images in the reader's mind. For example, her words cut like a knife is a metaphorical use of the action verb cut, which creates a vivid image of the impact of the words. Narrative often use rhythm and repetition to create particular effects. The use of rhythm and repetition in a narrative can create a musical quality that enhance the overall effects of the story. For example, the repetition of the phrase "I have a dream" in Martin Luther King Jr. famous speech creates a rhythmic pattern that emphasizes the importance and power of his message. And the last one is play with sentence structure is another common feature of narratives. Often sentences comprising one word or a short phrase
are used to create poignant effects. This technique can be used to create a sense of tension or emphasize an idea or emotion. For example, never again is a powerful sentence that comprises only two words, but it conveys a sense of determination and resolve. So, in conclusion, narratives use these common features to create effective images, particular effects, and also poignant effects. By using action verbs metaphorically, rhythm and repetition, and play with sentence structures, author can create engaging and memorable stories. Thank you. So this is another information about narratives. Narratives often include dialogue, which helps to reveal the personalities of the characters and move the story forward. And then second, the tone of narrative can vary depending on the story being told, but it generally seeks to engage the reader emotionally and create a sense of tension or suspense. And lastly, narratives can be written in the first person using I or third person using she, he, or they, depending on the point of view, the narrator. This is additional information about recount. First, recounts are typically shorter than narratives and focus on providing factual information about an event. And then second, the tone of a recount is generally more objective than of a narrative, as it seeks to provide information rather than elicit an emotional response. And then the last one is recounts can be written in the first person using I or third person using he, she, and or they, depending on the preference of the writer and the nature of the event being recounted.
Okay, so that's all we can share with you about the genre of narrating. Thank you.